Wow, y'all are good. Some of you were waiting to hop on. We were just hopping off the GMTSS.
It just ended like 1 second ago. So Cullen's on it. He's always
very
on
timely,
it.
very
He's
timely.
extremely timely.
Hi, everyone. Let us know where you're tuning in from.
When I grow up, I want to be just like Cullen because he is one of the most organized people.
He's very organized.
Like unbelievable. He
that's
inspires
why you married
me.
me. I'm organized.
No, that's exactly true. Yeah.
Don is not organized. Anyone who knows.
I delegate my organization skills. I finally learned that in my entrepreneurial years. Is I try to do it all, and I'm like, yeah, I suck at this, or I really just don't feel like doing it.
Stick to the things you're good at and you like, you enjoy. Hi, right. Renee. Hi, Rodney. Hey, Trish.
Felicia. Bob and Kim Holt, what's going on,
Delegation.
Y'all?
All right.
Arlene Stottlemyre. Oh my goodness.
Don's
How
gonna
are
talk to you guys while I go live on Facebook.
Hey, Denise.
If Zoom lets me. Sometimes
Mary Jo.
It's persnickety.
Gina Connor, I will call you back.
Hi, Gina.
I'm gonna make you wait as long as you made me wait to call me back. So it might be about 24 more hours, but we'll see.
Is it you, Gina? Market
and
America.
Brenda.
All right.
Yeah.
We're going live.
Lee Rader. What's up, Lee Rader?
This meeting is being live streamed. Got it.
Yeah.
Okay. You'd think as much as I use
Oscar
Zoom.
From snowy Chicago. What's going on?
Oh my
Oscar?
gosh, Oscar and Lee. I don't know how y'all do it where it's cold. Like I'm struggling in Pennsylvania. Oh man. All right. So Wiggity Wax seeing us in two places. Are you trying to have I
like it.
I just assumed
I like to see
not.
myself
I figured you would. I just as soon hide the Facebook stream.
By the way, not a LaCroix commercial, but oh goodness gracious, the LaCroix limoncello sparkling water.
Limoncello? You mean limoncello?
No, it's called limoncello.
Oh, is it
and
lime?
It's amazing.
Lemon and lime?
I guess.
Oh, Katrina's in. How do you say that? Hopicone?
I never can say it right. We have
some really good friends and partners up there, and maybe you have a suggestion of where I've been telling them, let's meet for dinner. This is so embarrassing how fuzzy my sweatshirt is, so don't judge me.
That's your cats.
Cats, kids, you know, everyone but me, of course.
Hi, Wendy from Virginia. Minnesota -60. Goodness.
Yeah, no joke, Lee. When we do meetings, she has like sweaters. She has her heating thing on her shoulders at all times, and then she's like a cat sitting in the sunbeam.
Dr. Tomorrow. What's going on, Dr. Tomorrow? Looking forward to seeing you on Saturday on that general product training. I cannot wait to see your GPT Saturday.
Yeah, we need one. I haven't been to one in a long time. Oh, how do we have to say hi to everyone on Facebook too?
I think that was for the Mideast, like the PA and Mideast region. So
okay. Oh, what did Jules say? That's terrible. I guess it's not social hour.
It's just the weather.
Okay. Like we're just saying hi to everybody.
Well, let's start.
All right, let's start.
We want to honor you all that are on time and ready to crush it and rock and roll.
Just
so
say hi.
You know.
So tonight is week 5. We're already in February. Isn't that crazy? Week 5 of our 12-week MUFO action plan, Master Unfranchise Owner Plan, right? So if you're joining us for the first time, let us know. Hopefully you're staying on task with week after week, but we have a progression of topics, right? So we're gonna chat about that in a minute, but I did want to shout out, we have some shout outs for people from last week to this week. We've got Rodney DeFrites, who received 142 IBV from the partner source Sense with 2 S's on an $815 order. So that's a great example, right, of converting our spending into our earnings. So he ordered a big item for his household or a business or something and got a significant amount of IBV. So that's super exciting. Patsy, we know Patsy Capetta. So she has a growing 9-member team. They're all listening to audios and they're noting what they're learning and they're sharing that with each other. And she's really excited to kick it in high gear this year after kind of a rough, rough enter here last year.
Go Patsy, come on.
And Angela Adams did the nutrophysical assessment and then loved the process, and she created a 10% off coupon for a returning customer to do the same, and that helps to close the sale anytime we give someone a coupon, right? So I love that. And you know, really the whole point of these shout outs is just encouraging you. It's a lot of these small steps done consistently and then duplicated within an organization that really lead to some significant changes in your business. So I think sometimes we paralyze ourselves from taking action because we think it has to be this whole big process and production, and it really doesn't. So we're excited to share our screen. Not really, but we're going to do it anyway.
I'm excited.
Don's like, do we need to share our screen and talk about slides? I'm like, well, it'll help guide our conversation, because sometimes we probably don't need them. You know, we do this in our sleep. This is very much a lifestyle business, and I was sort of assigned this topic from the executive sales team. So I'll take it as a compliment. And then it was suggested that Don does it with me. And we both have very different styles of what we're going to go through tonight. So I'm excited for you to hear about them.
And by the way, neither's wrong and neither's right.
Yeah,
so you're going to hear different styles. Lisa and I approach the business really almost from polar opposite perspectives. The way we build, I come from more of a business approach, and she really primarily comes starting with the product and then evolving the business into it.
Yeah.
And they're both great. It's kind of assessing for yourself which one feels like you own it, which one you feel in your soul that makes the most sense for you. But you're going to hear
what's authentic to you. You have to really own that. That's
right.
Great point. So when we started off with this 12-week series, we opened up with the why, the what, and the how, and then we rolled into retailing, right? And then tools for retailing. And then last week was more about converting that spending into earning. And tonight we're going to start to dig a little deeper in some of the fundamental business building strategies of prospecting, qualifying, and sponsoring. And really, anytime that you feel super frustrated with your business, and we're always telling ourselves this, like if we're frustrated that we're not growing or the team's not growing as fast as it should or whatever, it's always like, let's reflect back on ourselves, because if we weren't adding people to our funnel and we weren't calling and booking appointments and we weren't showing the plan and we weren't personally growing, for some reason, that's just how it duplicates in the team, even though we've been doing this together full time for 15 years at this point, which is so crazy. And we're still so happy married.
She loves me. I still grab her butt sometimes. It's good.
Oh my gosh, no one needs to know that. Tonight, I didn't have makeup on all day, and I'm like, I should probably put some makeup on for the Zoom. And I'm literally putting eyeliner on me, like rubbing my butt. And I'm like, dude, now is not the time. We got places to be. Yes, Kathleen, recordings are always available for this series, which is super cool. But the point is that we're very passionate about this topic because it is so important, and you have to do it all the time. Like, again, it should just be part of your day-to-day, your week-to-week. It's part of your lifestyle. I wouldn't even say business. It's just this is a lifestyle business. It's a people business. People are our inventory. It's not that you're constantly like chasing people down and recruiting them, right? It's really just that you're always sort of on the grow. You're always looking to connect with people who add value to your life, who are successful in some capacity of their life. Not just in business, but maybe they are a great parent or significant other, or maybe they're very well connected in the community. Maybe they're very philanthropic, maybe whatever.
Or they're great people to be around.
Yeah, they're really fun.
Yeah. JR and Lauren collect. I mean, they say some people collect baseball cards, some people collect cars, some people collect this. And JR and Lauren say we collect people. Yeah. And that is something to aspire to do, because when you collect people, that just means you have a quality of life. You have a resource of all types of people. That doesn't mean the majority of them are ever even going to be in business with you, but that just means you have access to so many people. You become more well-rounded, and obviously your business will grow because of that. You know, you have more quality people to surround yourself with leads to more quality people
And
into your business.
sometimes just having quality people in your space who aren't partnered with you can be more valuable because they're just a raving fan of you and they want to help support you, and they'll give you more referrals and they'll order more product and they'll actually produce more as a support system than as a partner. And so we'll kind of talk about some of those different scenarios. But when you think about prospecting, I think some of these terms get a little intimidating to people. So when you think about prospecting, really, it's just like being social and meeting people, right?
Making a new friend.
Making new friends. And for some people, it's very easy to do. And other people, maybe not so much, because some people are very naturally outgoing and they are fueled up and filled up by being social, right? They get more energized. That's Don. Other people, when they're social, they get depleted. Does anyone else feel that way? And it's okay. We're just going to talk about it because even, it's important to be open and transparent. It's important for you to know that you can have success no matter what. I think sometimes we see really strong personalities on stage, or we have a perception, like people may see that I'm on stage and I'm speaking, so they assume that I'm a certain personality that I am not, right? So I want you to kind of know that perception isn't always the reality. And if you guys know me, you know that I'm always keeping it real. But that's not to say that I don't enjoy being social. And that's not to say that I don't like the process. It's just, I've learned that, if I'm going to be super social and attend a networking event or do a retailing event, then I need a little bit of time the next day, maybe like a half a day where I don't have to be constantly on, right? Because we need to be on. So it's okay. Be your authentic self. Lauren always talks about that. And Don mentioned that earlier, and really live in that space. But so we're just keeping it casual tonight. We're not really even very scripted. We talked about bullet points, but that's about it.
That's what I got.
Don's got a notepad there.
The little, yeah.
But when it comes to sort of filling your funnel, right, think about, there's really three main ways. If you wanted to add a ton more, you could, but I feel like most people fit in a warm market, which is someone you already know in some capacity, whether it's friends, family, social circles in your town, your kids, whatever.
Just a point about your warm market too, is that the first thing I want to get through to everyone listening is we don't want you to go out and recruit your warm market. We don't want you to go out and try to get anybody from your warm market in the business. That's kind of in my opinion, a mistake that oftentimes people make. Mm-hmm. That does not mean I don't want you to go out and show them all the plan though. In fact, it's the complete contrary. I want you to show everybody in your warm market a plan, but for a reason. Mm-hmm. And that reason is because you want their support and their evaluation, because since they're in your warm market, you want them to feel comfortable that when the time comes, they'll give you a proper referral. Mm-hmm. So it's key when we talk about that to know prospecting, when you talk about warm market is, and I learned this directly from JR, he says, the first thing I want to teach people is to not try to get their friends and family into this business unless they want to get in. And that means they'll see
and they'll volunteer.
They'll volunteer by you just getting them to evaluate, check out the business, evaluate the entire process. And the purpose for you is so they can make good, proper referrals and recommendations, both for your product and the business when the time comes, and to feel fully comfortable in doing so. The only way they will is to see how the whole model works. Mm-hmm. So it's a very important point to make. When they see it, I realized and learned this early in my career. The best people, the right people, you don't have to convince them of anything. They're actually going to volunteer themselves and make themselves known to you once they see it, because they see how different and unique this is. And they'll actually recommend themselves to you as a person that you want to talk to. It is awesome. And it's the way I built my business my entire career. I never tried. I made my best friend Ed do it. That was the only direct approach. One of the only direct approaches. Very rarely do I ever use the direct. I like to get people to evaluate it because I might know the right people and, mutual beneficial.
One thing that I want to point out about your warm market is, if at all possible, you should not be showing the plan. Okay. It should be somebody else. And hopefully,
or at least having a color comment.
Right.
Yeah.
Because I know, and listen, you know, when in doubt, blurt it out. Can't say the wrong thing to the right person. La la la. We hear all these things all the time. That's just my personal opinion. Usually when you know somebody, especially if you've known someone a long time, like a friend that you've grown up with or a family member, they view you as that person, or you know, that idiot who did all those stupid things as a kid or a teenager or whatever. So they're not really viewing you as like a professional in business or someone that of authority that even knows what you're talking about. We're just in general, right? That I know that this isn't always the case, and maybe some of you don't have that issue, but so with your warm market, I just want to reiterate what Don was saying, and that is have them evaluate the plan, and because you're not expecting them to partner. In fact, you can even take it away from them and just say, listen, I know this isn't going to be for you. I know you're super busy. I know you don't have any time. I know you'd never want to be in business with me or whatever. You can like just be super funny or casual about it.
Yep.
But listen, just put your eyes on this for me because I'm committed. You have to be very convicted yourself. You have to be very certain of where you're going, why you partnered with this company, what your goals are, and just say, listen, I just want your support. I want you to evaluate for me. Stroking the ego is always a good idea. So you can say, you know, I really value your opinion because of XYZ reason. So just humor me. Check it out. And then afterwards, you'll have a better understanding of what it is that I'm looking for in a partner and what it is that I'm doing, so that you can help funnel people my way if someone comes to mind as you're learning more about what I'm doing, right? Now, in a perfect world, we may not have a great senior partner or whatever. That's fine. That's the benefit of everyone talking on all these Zooms we're doing. That's one great thing about technology over the last couple of years is how many people have been able to meet and connect with more people than ever before. And you can help each other out and reciprocate, and you can show the plan for someone and they can show the plan for you. Or you can leverage the corporate Zooms. We have one on Thursday tomorrow for a UVP, right? So
well, we want you to make sure that you don't hesitate or wait to show it though, because there's going to be times where you're not going to have someone else that can get on and show it for you. That doesn't mean wait until someone can. That means just find someone who can at least do a pop on and edify the process, or be there towards the end, especially if you're using Zoom, to where they can help you move it to the next level. Okay. Mm-hmm. So it's so important. Important to leverage third party at every opportunity possible. But again, you're not always going to be able to have someone with you. And I want to very highly and strongly encourage you to not wait for that third party and go out and start showing the plan, worst case scenario, on your own. Because listen, success loves speed.
Yeah. So here's a good example, right? With the warm market, and Don, I just got this text like an hour ago. So with your warm market, this is people that you already know outside of business, right? So there's a woman that I've become friends with, her daughter and my daughter are friends, right? So anyway, every time my kids do something, I always want to be social with the parents. I want to know their families, whatever. So it's like, we're always where everyone is coming, which can be exhausting because I don't really like to do that all the time, but I do it because for a lot of reasons and whatever. But so I invited the mom, Monica, her daughter's sleeping over on Friday. And I'm like, hey, why don't you just pop in when you drop Harper off? We can have a glass of wine. I'd love to catch up or whatever. And here's my point. When you're branding yourself on social media, I don't get a ton of engagement. I don't get a ton of likes. I don't get a lot of people reaching out to me typically. But when there's cause for conversation, they'll bring stuff up. So she actually was funny. She was like, here are the things that I want to ask. I want to ask you about the following. She's just being funny, but she's like, crazy science teacher, number one. Number two, my fear of selling cookies at Ace Hardware store because they're in Girl Scouts. Number three, your Tampa trip. So I was just in Tampa with the Motos Beauty and Business Academy, right? So I posted stuff on social media. I didn't say anything about business, anything about anything. It was that lifestyle that I was promoting, and she's curious about it, right? So that's a warm market. Now I'll show her the plan and I'll invite her and I'll be like, hey, get some of your friends together and I'll just walk you through my marketing plan. It would be great for you to be a referral source for me in our town. done and done. It doesn't need to be this whole complicated process,
And
right?
you want them to feel comfortable. And that's what I like to verbalize when we're talking to a warm market. I want you to understand this because I understand you're busy. You may or may not have time for this. In fact, I don't expect you to have the time for it, even though I'd love to work with you eventually someday. But at this point, I know it's a busy season of your
because
life.
you don't want things to be awkward, right? Like you don't want people to see you at the next town event and be awkward. But
I simply say, I want you to simply come and evaluate it because understanding enough that when the time is right, you have 100% comfort and confidence to refer people my way is all I really want to have. So you have 100% comfort and confidence to refer people when the time is right. That is my absolute favorite part of that approach to warm market that really helps me engage them to be willing to check it out, knowing full well that the majority of them through that process, even when they look at it, won't be interested themselves right away because that's just how it works. I understand this business is a numbers game and you need to as well. But when the right person puts their eyes on it, they're going to either give you some great referrals or say, listen, I want to do this too.
So rolling into like with social media right now,
we'll get into that.
Social media is more branding yourself.
So we have some slides for that, right?
No, not really.
Oh, we didn't.
I mean, we have slides, but not. I did. I put this is Dom's slide. Okay.
I only remember I gave 2 slides, and that was one of them.
So this is Dom's 3-step process, but with social media. So Christine just asked a question about like promoting your lifestyle. It's really just 80% of what you share on social should be lifestyle and maybe like 20% business. So I'm not directly pitching people on social media. It's not my style. Many people do, and it works. It's fine. Whatever works for you. Don's like, yeah, no, don't directly pitch people.
No, because the problem is, I mean, it worked for a little while early on in the social media realm and sphere. The problem is now every single entrepreneur of everything does it. And people have numbed themselves to it. So what you need to do is provide value and create curiosity.
And they start to like unfollow you at some point.
They start muting you out, unfollowing you, and all this stuff.
So when you're sharing, because my life is this business, like literally, like most of our social circle is people we've met going through the evaluation process, people lead to people, ABC pattern. And it just, this company and this business and this opportunity attracts so many like-minded people, and you're going to meet like the best friends in your life here. So a lot of what we do for travel and business and social, it kind of all commingles. So I just share my life. I'm very authentic on social media, and I just am who I am. And I don't often pitch products or come hop on this webinar, because everything we do is personal. And that I really want you to get that tonight, because a lot of people do that wrong on social, where they're mass marketing, and that may work for multi-level marketing companies, but we are a one-to-one marketing company and a product brokerage company.
We're not a mass marketing company.
We are not a mass marketing company.
One-to-one.
We're not a multi-level marketing company. So just pushing all that stuff out there and hoping something sticks, it doesn't work. And it's like, it almost embarrasses you. You can seem desperate. And I'm not even judgmental, because I see flashbacks when I was trying to do something and it was bad, right? So it's okay. If you've done everything wrong to this point, it's okay, you know?
And even if it does work, it doesn't duplicate very well.
Yeah, that's
so some people do have a skill that they can get people to listen to. And I don't want to talk about what doesn't work. Let's talk about what does, but nonetheless, you know, just be aware that we're in a constantly change. Listen, the only constant is change. Wouldn't you all agree with that? So, but there's certain things that have stood the test of time that become more and more effective. And the first one is leveraging your warm market properly, evaluation, and going through the process we just started with. That's number one. Number two, which is the social media prospecting aspect. So let me just tell you my process, that you can see my 3-step process here. I use social media for a reason, and that is to rekindle relationships from my past. That is a purpose, and to start a dialogue. That's it. I'm not using it to create interest, to create possible customers personally. My thing is just to rekindle prior relationships and to create a dialogue. So how do you do that? Well, one thing is try to find people that you haven't talked to in a really long time. So one of the things is increasing your network on a daily basis. If you're using social media as a source of connections, right? Number one is just increase your network. There's several ways to do this, but you can go into like friends that you knew from like years ago. Like I go to friends that I played baseball with, friends that I went to college with, friends, my brother, for example, at times, people that I grew up in the neighborhood with. And I go through their friends list and see if I recognize a name that I'm not a friend with. And I'm going to tell you something. I've never done this and not found within a 5 or 10 minute span, 5 people that I recall them and remember their name, and they'll probably remember mine the same way. At least 5 people within 5 or 10 minutes. Anytime I do it, just looking at someone's name. It's amazing the number of people that we've had in our life that maybe we're just a small little acquaintance that could become another rekindled connection and relationship as we what?
You like that word?
As we collect more people, right? So the first way is, number one, increase your network. Each day, I do this Monday through Thursday when I'm focused in the process through social media, and just adding new friends, not random strangers ever, because that doesn't work. And plus, that's how you get put in, Facebook jail or whatever.
And
but
he's been there. That's why he knows.
I never have been.
Oh, no.
I know people who have. I've never have been. I pride myself on that. But that's number one.
Can I add something to that?
Sure, and that gives you more people that will see number 2, and then a chance to be able to leverage number 3 here. So again, about number 1.
Yeah, I mean, well, that was really the third part, is that when you're adding friends, don't just friend request someone or connect with, we primarily use Facebook. There's so many platforms out there to meet people and connect, but Facebook is really where you're going to find maybe those rekindled relationships that you can reach out to. Whereas some of the other platforms are going to be maybe people that you've never met before. And that's great too. I just don't have a lot of advice on that because I don't do that. But so when you're adding them as a friend, pop them a message. So in number 3, when we say do those reach outs per day, that is personally sending them a message. So I'm very big on like the voice memos on Facebook. You can do a regular typed message, like a direct message on Facebook, where it's a private message just to them. But I'll be like, oh my gosh, Crystal, like I just saw that you comment on Amber's post and it's been a hot minute. Like I haven't seen you since like we were 15, like what's going on, and
always end with a question.
Yeah, always end with a question and just create a dialogue. We're not pitching anything. We're not recruiting anybody. We're not doing anything. We don't even know if these are quality people that we want to even have in our sphere of influence, right? We're just filling our funnel, and it's a process and it's a numbers game, and people will, the right people will make themselves known eventually, right? So that's what we mean when we say reach outs, okay?
And there's a multitude of things that would lead to reach outs, but a reach out is just, when I'm, again, building, I'm doing 5 a day, where all I'm doing is finding a reason to reach out. It's a private direct message to someone. It's not a public call out or tagging people. It's a private direct message to somebody that is either someone I just found, right, that I hadn't talked to in years. And you could do, I love the voice memo thing too, but you could just do a message saying, Bill, oh my goodness, I haven't talked to you in 15 years since our bowling league when we were 9 years old. I noticed, and I always check what they have going on. I noticed that you're living in the same town. How's life treating you? I hope everything's great. I always have a question that I wrap it up with. Why? Because I'm breaking the ice. And I got to tell you, more times than not, they're going to respond and they're going to be like, oh my God, if you're leveraging social media correctly and you're making your post proper, which I'm going to share the last thing, which is number 2, they're going to respond back and be like, oh, I meant to reach out to you. I saw this, I saw that. I hope everything's great. I had a question for you. It's amazing how that happens. That's number 3. That's the third thing. But what causes that oftentimes is your posts. And when you do your posts, it's not about selling to me ever. Now, some people do it. It's never about selling to me, and it's never about promoting to me. All it is this, and I want you to write this down. Provide value and make people's lives better with your posts. What I mean by that is do something that gives some value to them, that makes them want to pay attention to you, move forward. Not something that you're trying to get value back to you,
right?
But something that provides value to them, like something educational, That's why people that do tutorials do really well. They let me show you how to do a smoky eye. Let me show you how to do this. I don't know. Just give me examples. But you know what I'm saying?
Just scream. It's okay.
I get excited.
It's good audio.
But anyway, so that's that. It could be educational. It could be something entertaining. You know, watching people just do something like jokes, something funny that people get value, something that their life is just improved a little bit better because they pay attention to your post. And then the third thing could be inspiration, right? Something inspirational, something that makes people get excited to hear what you're doing. Mm-hmm. The fourth thing that you don't want to be, so you can be an educator, you can be an entertainer, you can be an inspiration, right? Or a combination of all three. Or the fourth thing that I see sometimes, and you can be a spammer. Nobody wants those, and they'll stop paying attention to you, and it actually devalues the attention. Right. And then your reach outs won't be effective because you're not providing value. And people are like, man, I'm so glad you post every day. I look forward to your post. Thank you for that. It makes my day better. That's what I'm looking for, and that's my process. All it does is create conversations. So then we can have conversations offline. I don't do it online. My goal is to create a conversation on social so I can bring it off and have conversations.
So like the direct message. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we don't have time tonight to go through all of this, but if you are interested in learning more how to brand yourself and leverage social media, I would highly encourage you to attend an ISM training, an internet sales and marketing training, because you'll do a deeper dive into that. But that is the framework, and it's really pretty simple, right? So just kind of add value and be yourself, make new connections. You don't necessarily, feel like you have to add 5 friends every day or whatever. I mean, the point is, look at people's mutual friends. That's what I do. So that's what he was saying with like his brother or his childhood friend. Like, look at who their friends are. Sometimes you're not able to because of a security setting. But if you go through their friends list, you might find a name that rings a bell.
Or several.
Or many, and oftentimes. And then that might prompt you to direct message them. But you can also direct message people to just like, I always think of the 3 C's that Lauren talked about on stage one time, which is like console, congratulate, or, oh my gosh, what was the other one? Who's smarter than me and remembers? Console, congratulate, and comfort, maybe? No, compliment. That's what it is. Thank you. So for me, I always like to do the congratulate thing, because consoling, I feel like if I'm going to console someone, it's like I have a personal relationship with them. I'm not really going to do that in a direct message on Facebook. But I will direct message them on Facebook to congratulate them. That's my favorite thing to do. Or I am very complimentary in general on people's posts or in a private message. But so if something happy is happening, people are in a really good state mentally and emotionally. And that's when I kind of want to start that relationship with them to see maybe if, whatever, we can take it to the next step as far as evaluating the business. So did they buy a new home? Did they get a new job? Did they get married? Did their kids do something really phenomenal? Whatever, right? So you can also think about those 3 things, the 3 C's when you're reaching out. All right. So that for us, social media is more rekindling those old relationships, like Don said, and then keeping relationships with people you meet. So as you are maybe having people evaluate the plan, or maybe you have an organization and you're getting to your people's people, or you're doing retail events and you're getting to your people's people, I will connect with people on social media at that moment before that event ends, so that we are in each other's atmosphere moving forward. So that's another way to use social media. And that's a good way to kind of stay in the atmosphere. So when it comes to adding new names to your list, which people always want to do, so there's warm market, there's social media. The other one is professional networking. And
this is my favorite.
This is Don's favorite. So go ahead. This is his slide.
Well, it's real simple. I mean, professional networking, there's opportunities to do professional networking in person or online. It all depends on where you're at right now in terms of with what's going on, right, in your area, how cautious people are, where you live, geographically, it's very diverse. But like right now I have both, I'm attending live in-person networking events where business people, right, entrepreneurs, salespeople, professionals in the field of promotion, and business owners get together and they meet. And the sole purpose of these sessions is for people to get together, learn what each other does, for the purpose of referring business to each other. Mm-hmm. The mistake that people can make is to go there to try to sell people or recruit them. If you do that, it's not going to work very well. And, you know, you're going to turn into the plague walking in the door, you know, and no one's going to want to be around. It's about building relationships. Remember, our number one goal in prospect recruiting is to bring more value to people, so then eventually they'll want to bring it back. Does that make sense? So my number one value is when I go to professional networking, my goal is build relationships with people and try to help them as best I can. That's it. How many people can I give referrals to and connect? As long as I trust them and I like them, I'm going to give them referrals. Therefore, they will then comfortably give referrals, hopefully back. Not everybody will, and I don't expect it, but I know the more value I give out to the world, the more the world's going to want to give it back to me. So when you do these professional networking events, you can find these on meetup.com. You can find Chamber of Commerce mixers. They're online virtually on Zoom, where they do little breakout Zoom meetings. They do chamber, you know, in-person things where you meet at restaurants or at local businesses.
Just go on Google. Like, I love women in business events, so you can just Google that in your local area,
or in your church or whatever. You can host stuff for your own.
Anywhere there's community bulletin boards, if you check those out, there's usually stuff going on.
And if not, you can host them for yourself. And there's ways to do that. I've helped a lot of my team host their own, you know, and there's ways to do it. I mean, I help people set them up, and I help anybody do it. Set up networking events, whether they want to do networking events in their churches, in their gyms. I do one in my gym. I mean,
Vicky's got the right idea. She's going to a chamber lunch on Friday at a winery. I like that.
Well, there you go. Win-win situation.
But something you said that I wanted to reiterate is, when you're doing professional networking, the sole intent, and really should be your A1 focus, is to be an asset and add value to everybody there. It's really not about you pitching your plan or your business. It's really, how can I learn more about everyone else here, what their business is, how I can be a good referral source for them. And it's just, in turn, people are going to reciprocate. Maybe not everybody, but most people. And so
not everybody will, but the ones that do will do it big. Huge, and it will make up. It's so good, and you'll get. And by the way, you'll meet some of the best people because they're entrepreneurial too. And they're, by the way, the ones that become interested, because accidentally that does happen through this process where you will end up sponsoring people. They're the best because they are already doing the things that entrepreneurs need to learn to do. Go out and promote themselves and do those type of things. So absolutely, you know.
And I think you have to be consistent with these, right? It doesn't happen overnight. Nothing in this business does. And not that you can't have success quickly, because we've seen that you can. But what can be hard is that people, they get impatient or they quit on themselves too soon. So I think for us, why we have so much success professionally networking now is because we've done it consistently for over a decade. So even in our town or our area that we've lived in most of our life together, there's still so much room for growth here. But there's so many people we've not partnered with yet, or who haven't even seen the plan yet, but they know us, they like us, they trust us. And it's like, you know, just a really positive relationship where they're giving referrals, or there's positive gossip, or, you know, we'll meet. Like, he was at a woman's house the other day helping move some stuff. And you met someone there that was like picking up furniture, and he was like, oh my gosh, she owns a med spa. And it's a name that we've heard as a referral for like 5 years from so many people, so many times. And it was like, oh my gosh, we have to connect. Like, I've been hearing your name. And she, like, we knew of each other, right? So that's the point. So it's just be patient and be professional, always keep it classy. And by the way, brand yourself. It's not Market America. It's not, you know, Isotonics or Motives or whatever. Not that you shouldn't be proud to showcase those products or the company, but people need to have a relationship with you, and they're buying you first and foremost, and they need to know, like, and trust you before anything else.
So when you're there, you're working for yourself. Just remember, you're not employed by Market America or Shop.com or Motives or Web Centers. You're your own, or you're an entrepreneur. You own your own company. You're partnered with the company to help you with the solutions, but you are your own entrepreneur. So when you're going there, you want to be you, and you want them to remember you, and so when I go in, it's DMJ International, and I'm proud to tell people that I'm partnered with Market America and shop.com and all those type of things when we sit down one-on-one and go through it. But I'm not there saying I'm with blank. No, I'm with myself because they need to remember me, and because I'm the one who's going to be giving the referrals.
Well, also, you all have, we're full-time with our company now, but we do other things. Like we do a lot in our community. We have a nonprofit, et cetera. So that's not only what we do, right? And so the same for you. Either you still have a full-time job and you're doing this part-time, or maybe you're full-time with this, but you have so much more to offer with your skill set, with your background, with your resume, whatever, right? So you don't want to kind of make that mistake and lead with that. And I just want to edify what Vicky's saying about business cards, because we do the same. When
I always have cards, but it's only because I have to give one to get one. So, but it's more of an exchange type of thing. But my business card is super simple. It's like DMJ International, Don Martin, name, email.
It's like your name and your email.
It's very simple. It's no descriptions. It's going to say product broker on it or something, but it's very simple. And
so the key though, is when you're at a networking event or business card exchange or whatever, collecting those cards is key, because now you're in control of that follow-up, and you can book an appointment. And I would do it within like 24 hours. So you're fresh on someone's mind. And just grab a coffee or whatever, and just say, hey, just looking, well, you probably have a better spiel, but I want to learn more about, what you're doing and what a good referral is for you. And then you're in control of the conversation, because if you're like me and you get nervous about what to say, how to say it, all those things, then just don't speak. The person who speaks last loses, right? So just make it all about them. Book it for like 20 or 30 minutes and just say, hey, I'm going to be respectful of your time. Like, I loved meeting you. You can book another follow-up. But usually toward the end, they'll reciprocate and they say, oh, well, what about you? And then you can book that follow-up. So time's going quick. I know we have to like keep it moving here.
The goal is we want to just build rapport. So after we meet all these people, whether it be on social media, they were rekindle relationships, or they're new business partners that we met. By the way, it's not just in-person networking. A lot of these networking clubs are doing things online. They're doing virtuals where you get on a Zoom and then there's a moderator, and then every 5 or 10 or 15 minutes, they break people out in 3 to 5 people groups. And then everybody gives a 30-second kind of definition of what they do, right? And then everybody exchanges. They basically, you have a little kind of a cut and paste kind of what you do. And then they send you a copy of the entire message thread that has every single person's cut and pasted, basically virtual business card. You have them all, so then you can follow up people. But the goal is you want to get with people and build rapport. So that's what the first meeting is. You call them up, and I simply say, hey, I don't know if you remember.
You're not inviting them to a UBP.
You're not inviting them to see your business plan. You just want to build rapport. You want to learn about what they do, have them learn a little bit more about what you do in a 20 to 30 minute total meeting, so that you guys can comfortably figure out if you have synergies to refer business back and forth, right? And that's it. That's what it's all about. When that happens, some might see that they might need what you have, but that's not the goal. The majority of the time, it's just to create yourself some raving fans that you can give referrals to, and they can give referrals back to you. And that's all a referral is. Why don't you talk about this one?
Yeah, so the goal is create that relationship. Again, we're one-to-one marketers. And by the way, this is all part of that evaluation process. You're evaluating them as you're getting to know them to see, like, is this person insane? Are they well connected? Do they have any type of good qualities? Like, so you're having them evaluate product and the plan, like both, right? And this is something we have had to keep recentering ourselves. Well, more so Don, because he loves the plan so much. So after building rapport and creating a relationship, when you get to that part where someone's evaluating the plan so that they know what a good referral is for you, at that time, it's great to show the plan, and it's great to book, follow-ups after that, which we'll get to, but it's even better to have them do some trial size marketing, to invite them to a product preview or some type of retailing event. That way, not everyone's going to partner with you, and that's okay. That's fine. That's just how it is, right? There's all different folks for all different, to make the world go round. So not everyone's going to want to be in business with you. Don't take that personal, celebrate that. That's cool, right? But every single person that you're spending time with to create a relationship with, or to have evaluate your product or your business, now it's easier than ever because we have so many things in trial size packets, right? So that's what I would do, right? But again, you can invite them to a retail event, but they're the two things that you're constantly sort of putting out there and having people evaluate for you. Is I don't want you to forget one over the other, because they're equally important, because you don't know what people are going to lean into. You don't know if they're going to be more excited about the plan or more excited about a product. And typically you think, like you're going to be like, this person's going to tear it up in the business, or I'm going to talk to this person about motives because they're in the beauty world, but they don't want to be in the beauty world anymore. They want to be in the nutritional world. So it's so important to ask quite open-ended questions. It's so important to listen more than you speak. And it's so important to be so intentional about your goal is to add value to everyone that's in your space. And you're not worried about the results so much. You're just falling in love with that process, and you're trusting that the right people are going to volunteer and sort of let you know, right, what their interest is. And then again, you can sort of lean into that and trust that process. So as you do this, people are going to lead to people. And that's why creating those relationships is so important. And listen, we've been doing this a long time. We have met some really crazy people. We've been duped a few times pretty hard. And that can be a tough pill. It happens to everyone. That's why I'm saying it. Like, we're good at this business. We know what we're doing. And that just still happens sometimes. So why it's palatable is because if you're good at getting people to lead to people, whether through product or through the plan, then you've never wasted your time. There's nothing to really be bitter about, because it was just part of the process.
And
right?
You got practice and you got better. Mm-hmm. And by the way, most importantly, you planted a seed. And that, I want you to realize, a lot of people go out and they think they're hunting for people. We're not hunting. And then for a longest time, like myself and Tom Holden and Big Al, we would go around and tell people, you're not hunting, you're fishing. And you thought you were fishing, you'd put out bait, and right? That was that. But the most important thing is we're not even fishing.
No, thank you.
We are actually farming.
We're farming.
We're farming.
Haley,
we're planting seeds in people's lives. Chase, come grab her. We're almost done, baby.
There's a naked child behind us. So you're really just filling your funnel. So yeah, guys, when I'm saying duped or fooled, I'm just saying some people are crazy, and you meet them and you think they're not crazy, right? Like, maybe they put on a good front. The point I'm trying to make is, you're going to meet all types, right? And you can't prejudge, because some people you might think, oh my gosh, they're going to be amazing in the business, or they're going to be so great at this product. And it's not your job to judge. You don't know. Let people show you who they are, right? And some people are going to impress you, and some people are going to disappoint you. It just happens. And I'm just letting you know, because I know a lot of people that I've been around a long time, they're not where they want to be. We're not where we want to be. And it's easy to think you're doing something wrong, or you get really hard on yourself. Like, I'm the only one who has to go through this, or I've been wronged, or I've been like, we all go through it. And the people who have the larger organizations, trust me, they've gone through it a lot more, right?
I know Colin's the same way. We both love to fish, and he's like, woohoo, top water fishing. Every once in a while it feels like it in the business, but it's very uncommon. Oftentimes we're planting a seed in this whole process. And the people, when they first see it, that maybe not be responsive at all, or maybe might be even close to negative, 6 months down the road, it's a 180-degree turn, and they are begging to come see it. Remember, you're planting seeds over and over and again, and just remember to consistently follow up. So you're farming, not so much fishing. Yeah, more like worm fishing with a bobber, right? Exactly, right? But you never know. And by the way, when you plant those seeds, keep in mind, when you plant the seeds, when you show that plan the first time, or when you tell people, you have people try a product, you don't know when their soil is going to be fertilized. They could have dry, cracked soil that hadn't had any water, and there's very little fertilizer there at all, if any. They're not ready to grow something yet. But when timing changes in their life and all of a sudden there is some rain and there is some sunshine and there is some fertilizer that hits that soil, and all of a sudden that seed that's been dormant there for 6 months or a year or 2 years, all of a sudden it shoots up, and as long as you're in contact and you constantly follow up, timing becomes right and it makes it happen. And wow, that's a very powerful process. So anyway.
So I think the key is, and this is, I think, the hardest part of the business, right? We're like, all right, fill your funnel, go through the evaluation process. When do you know, is it time to partner with someone? That can get hard. Right. So,
and Colin said something
this is
really
something
important.
We're always measure, monitoring, adjusting, and controlling. But the key is always be closing, right? Who knows that movie? But and when I say closing, I don't necessarily mean like you have to get them to partner at that moment. It's closing to the next step. What is the next step? Maybe it is they need to partner, because if you have someone like Don, who's this very dominating personality who wants to move fast, he doesn't want to be processed to death. When he saw the plan, not because he was interested, because he was evaluating as a professional courtesy, right? He wanted to get going. If someone had said no and processed him to death, he would have been like, fine, I'm over it. Like, you can't get me where I need to go. You're going too slow.
And Colin just said an important point. He says, you have to, during this process of planting seeds, you have to be looking, it's down low. You have to be looking for people. He said precisely, he said, during all this, you're looking for an aggressive go now to crush the information fast too. Yes, they're the ones in this whole process. You're looking for them. But here's the best part. When you come across them, if you're prepared and you stay hungry and you stay energized and you are as confident at your first presentation as you are at your 50th, that person sees it and they will spring to the occasion and they'll make themselves known to you. And they're the people that you lock arms with and you just go to work with heavily. And we've all heard the 80-20 rule, right? So like only 20% of people are going to be go nows and have that passion and that sense of urgency. But don't discount those 80%ers like me who partnered. I loved the product, right? I already had a customer base. I was making some money selling some product. I understood the concept of the plan, and I knew if I get my business up and running, that the team's going to grow without me. And when I'm ready, that makes better business sense for me to start now. So when I'm ready, there's stuff already in motion versus waiting, right? So everyone's different. So as an example, like so you might be a Dawn personality or a prospect that I've been working on with my partner, Maleva. Maleva met with her. She did a product event. She's a customer, right? Then she evaluated the plan. Then she hosted her own event. And then she had like 5 of her friends become customers. Then she evaluated the plan again. Then Maleva's like, she's not ready to pull the trigger, but I don't know where to go with her. All right, third party comes in. So then I do a Zoom with Maleva, only just to add value to this woman's life and get to know her. Like, where are you at? What are your goals? Like, and she's at this transitionary time. So we just connect as friends, adding value. And then Maleva followed up after that. So this has been like a 5-month process at this point. And then Maleva sent her an email like 2 weeks ago, and she replied and said, I received your email. I was finally able to read it. I'm interested in the first tier with the auto ship because we gave her options of partnering. I would like to have another sit down after I come back from vacation. I also have another interested person to meet with you about the skincare products. What does your schedule look like next week? People leading to people. And it could be anything. It could be with a product. It could be evaluate the business, but that's the magic right there. Being creative. And I can give you processes to do that, but you're going to best find your way by just finding your way. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
By trying different methods.
Relationships. You're going to need to know how to kind of read the room and understand where people are at. I already said this, but don't over process people to death, but some people need that. And that's something you need to learn on your own. You need to do some self-development to learn how to know when to take the next step and have people partner with you, right?
I have 2 questions that I want you guys to write down because we're coming to a close here and I don't want to forget to put them out. Number 1, when you're talking to successful people, or if someone makes it known to you that they're looking for something, a question that you can utilize is, do you keep your options your business options or your financial options open, right? Do you keep your income earning or financial options open, right? That's a great question to utilize when someone seems like they might need it. And if they say, sure, yes, I do, which most people do, say, okay, well, I can't promise you anything. And this is another thing, because I don't know if they're going to be right. And I don't want them to feel I'm chasing them. Oh, great. You keep your, well, listen, I can't promise you anything, but I'd like to run something by you. There may be a fit for us to maybe do something together, but I'm not sure until we go through it. I can't promise anything. Do you keep your, the second question I want you to remember is when you're closing at the end of a meeting, is there anything preventing you? Or I always ask people on a scale of 1 to 10. First question I ask at the end of it when I'm closing a meeting is, firstly, what did you see that was most unique or different about what you saw tonight? What stuck out to you that was most unique and different about what we do versus anything else you've ever seen? I want them to remember the difference maker with us. Some people say, what did you like most? That's cool too. I like that. But my thing is, what did you see that stuck out as most unique or different about what we do than anything else out there? That's the first thing I ask. And they answer. Second thing I says, all right, so from a scale of 1 to 10, where do you think you fall in this scale? Let me explain to you. 1 is, I'm not interested from a business perspective at this point myself, but I would love to support and be a customer and a good referral source, right? 10 is, get me started right away. Anywhere on a 1 to 10. And I love to ask that because I want to know how to work with them. If they're a 1, I'm going to schedule a time, get them set up as a customer, and show them a tour of the site. And then ask them for referrals over time. If they're a 10, I'm going to say, is there anything preventing you from getting started right away and getting this in front of some people and registering? Is there anything preventing you? It's a test close.
You'd be surprised how many times if you ask that question, they'll say no.
No,
but if you don't ask that question, you would never be partnering with them.
And so I'm ready to go. And then anybody between those 2 to 9, I say, well, I have people that say I'm an 8, I'm a 9. And let me say, I will tell people at that point in time, that's awesome. I'm glad you're an 8. But here's the deal. I only sponsor 10s. I only bring on 10s. So what I want to recommend us do is let's have you evaluate this thing further, attend to one of our trainings, and get some people to evaluate this thing for you and with you until you become a 1 or a 10. That's where your decision can be made to either just be a customer or to partner with us. But in the mix, let's test this thing out and see how it works. And I'm telling you guys, it's magic in motion, and it helps you lead them down the right path. Okay?
Or sometimes I'll even say, what do we need to do to get you to a 10? Because sometimes I make the wrong assumption. So they might say, I need to see the plan again, or I need to have someone else look at it, or I need to try some product or whatever, right? But just know that subconsciously, everything that you're doing is imprinting on that person.
That's
and
right.
JR talks about that all the time, but it's so important. And again, we've been around a long time. We have been building a long time, and we still have to recenter ourselves and be intentional about this because there's ebbs and flows of life. We all get distracted. There's always something, new technology, whatever. So you always have to kind of keep the main thing. And how you do anything is how you do everything. So when you're starting someone off and you're taking them through that process, just remind yourself from the time you meet someone at a networking event or you create that relationship on social to the time you sit down and do like a rapport meeting, to the time you show them the plan and the book of follow-up, and then sitting down with them and registering their business, celebrate that, get their commitment, have them buy tickets to the next event, right? That's all part of the process that has to be done properly so that they know what to do.
We're giving you guys like 3-4 hours of stuff in 40, 50 minutes or
it's
whatever.
It's a very loaded topic,
right.
But and listen, either way, it's all good as you go through, just fall in love with the process, right? Timing's not right for everyone. That was the last slide that I kind of skipped over. If you're implementing that trial size marketing, you're at least gaining a customer throughout it, right? So even if they don't partner, you've got a customer. Maybe you have identified they're crazy and they don't qualify to be in your business, then that's a good thing too.
But you also plant a seed and timing changes.
Yeah. So your homework tonight, you can email masterufo@marketamerica.com and have a chance to get a shout out next week. So we are challenging you to add 14 names. This is specifically a prospecting week. So we want you to do those 2 days 2 names a day, and that should be so easy with everything that we talked about.
Any
right?
of the 3 or a combination of all of them, whether it be organic, or
Mhm.
business, professional networking, or social media. 14 new people that you can have added to your Rolodex, old school term that I still like to use.
Yeah. And then do some reach outs on social media. Those are more of a numbers game. You're gonna have to do a lot more of those to get someone to like book an appointment versus maybe meeting someone at a networking event. And then personally show the plan. Everyone has people to show the plan to. So it could be anybody, right? It's not who's interested. It's just to, again, fall in love with that process. Make
And
sure
you'll never be perfect. Just show it. And anything worth doing is worth doing poorly until you get better. So just go out and show it. And if you want to, have somebody there to color comment and clean up the mess, and they won't even know it was a mess.
Yeah.
Just go out and do it.
The people don't know, right?
They don't know.
So we're perfectly leading into next week, which is the importance of events. Every time we partner with someone new, their business partnership comes with a ticket to the next event. And now with them being streamed virtually, like it's better than ever. So Colin Haskins next week is going to talk about the importance of training, the GMTSS, how to sell those tickets.
He has several great
process.
guests too. He would just announce it on the GMTSS. So you guys are going to be pleasantly surprised and pleased. His guests are awesome. And obviously Colin does an incredible job.
And if you haven't had enough of us tonight, you can join us on the countdown for World Conference. We're going to have Chevy Reynolds and Vina Hudgens. We're interviewing
in
them.
60 seconds.
Yes, we did
So we'll see you there.
Okay, good night.
Have a great night, guys. Thanks for being with us.
Bye.